Okay, so I'm recording what you're gonna do when I give you your messy ball of clay. I want you to take it on your table. You're gonna wedge it into a block. So this was just 2 pieces that I cut off of here. This is reworked clay. So you need to work quickly in order to get all of this done before the end of the class. So I'm just wedging it to get any like air pockets out of it. And some students say, well, how will you know? You'll know, you'll be rolling through air bubbles. Okay, this takes a minute. Sticking to the table. So that's why I gave you the cloth. It's just harder for me to record if I do it there. So you can do it on your cloth so it's not adhering to the table or suctioning to it. Trying to turn it into a cube shape so that every time I smack it, you know, it's mostly in a cube. So you can pay attention to that. I am going really fast because I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. Okay, so regardless, I'm going to start rolling. Okay, the rolling pins have these nice little measuring sides. I don't know what you call these, but they're guides. They're like built-in guides. Normally, according to the other videos you've seen, you can see the guides that they have. Let me scoot this back so you can see better. Okay, you have to be patient. Oops. And you won't have to worry about that. I just have a thing up here. So you're going to start working the clay, and you want it to be long because your template is a rectangle. You can make it a little bit wide to have room for your circle and your handle, but let's just see what we get here. So look what I have so far, and I'm going to keep rolling it out a couple different directions. Let's see how the length we want it to go for, because your template is a 4x9, okay? So you have to make sure that it lines up. So that is your first challenge. There are some air bubbles coming out here. And I can't do this for all of you. That's too much of an arm workout, so you're gonna have to do the best you can. And a lot of students will say, you know, have I rolled it out enough? Is this enough? You'll know, just run your hand over it. You can feel the little hills. It needs to be all one length, which is the height of the guides on the side, okay? So if the guides become loose, just tighten them up. We do not want them to fall off. These are Miss Coslow's rolling pins. Mine require wooden guides that are separate pieces. Okay, we're 3 minutes in, and let me show you what I have so far. Looks like this. Clay needs a little bit of love. It's kind of got some irregular texture, but that's what the ribs and the sponges are for. It's still not smooth. So let's see what we can do. It's too long to roll in 2 different directions now. That could be a little risky, but let's see what happens. Okay. Probably should clean these off so you don't get that nasty texture on there. That's something I did not check after first period today. So right now I have enough length, but my main concern is that it's not all the same consistent thickness. So I'm still working the clay. It's almost there. And I can go ahead and start working with this one to show you what will happen if you don't roll it out all the way. I think I've got like another minute or 2 of rolling on here, just depending on how much strength you have. Some of you guys might go faster than others. Oops. Okay, so really, the thickness is going to be determined by this little guy, okay? So now I'm going to place my template on here. Okay, and it's a nice little fit. You can see. Okay. All right, so then each table has something sharp of some sort. I'm looking for what I have on this table. Let me see what we have. Let's experiment with these little drills. Sometimes these little drills can create ugly textures, but this isn't so bad. We want clean edges. Anything pointy, I mean, you could use a toothpick, but I put blades and all sorts of clay tools that you need to be very responsible with on your table. I'm just neatly cutting out the rectangle. I only have one section that can be saved for the circular base. So we'll stick that aside. It'd be nice if you had one of these that were for the handle, but I'm using some recycled clay that needs some love. All right, so this one, this could be a handle, maybe. The handle should be left out to become a little bit harder. Okay, let's see what I've cut out. Okay, I've cut out my rectangle with my template. Okay, so now on your desk, you have some silicone ribs and you have some sea sponges. The silicone ribs look like this, and the sea sponges look like this. Okay, so you do need a tiny bit of moisture in your sea sponges, not much. Okay, just a tiny bit of moisture. I don't want it to be like sopping wet and like destroying the whole thing. In fact, this one is leaving ugly streaks, so let's take a look at this rib. Let's see if I can make it nice and smooth. Okay, there's one more step we have to take here. We have to cut and bevel the edges to make sure that, and you have to flip it to bevel it, okay? I've got one crunchy look inside. If you get some crunchy texture or just something didn't turn out right, we can still fix it. Okay, no need to start over just yet. Okay, so when beveling the sides, I will need a knife for that, or something to cut it at an angle. Look around you and see if anybody has something. These are very sharp. You have to be very careful. So I am beveling, if 90 degrees is straight up, I am beveling at like hopefully a 45-degree angle. And I'm not really taking off length. I'm just taking off this corner. I'm not doing the neatest job. Let me put it down. Okay, we want it to kind of fit together perfectly. Okay, so if I do it on this side, I've got to flip it over to do the other side, and you'll see why in just a second, because they will not fit together if you don't do that. They've got to meet when you roll it in a circle. Okay, let's see if that's good enough. Now remember, you have to score and slip to join clay together, so you want this to be round like a cup. So notice that these two edges can kind of fit together. You don't want it to be pointy. Now I did put some cylinders on your tables. I don't have enough for everybody, so y'all can share. You don't have to use these, but in case you're wondering what they're for, sometimes I gently place them on here and just kind of check. It's not gonna meet all the way. These are kind of large, but at least it gives it like a nice round shape on one side. And then take it off and pass it to the next person. So now I have that C shape. And this is where your craftsmanship comes in, okay? You do have to score and slip. So I am going to create little hatches down that beveled edge I made. Where's this one? That's right there. Just hatching, terribly hatching all the way down. And you just need a little bit of water on your finger. We're not really using slip, but you know, you just gotta juice up the sides. It kind of creates slip. It gets all foggy and fuzzy looking, okay? And we'll join it together. You've gotta try and keep this as round as possible. And the goal here is to get rid of the seam, okay? This is where you've gotta really be gentle with your fingers. This is where the building comes in, the fun part, okay? And you just gotta try. A lot of people struggled, and you just stick with it and you just keep trying. Like clay's, you know, one of those things where patience, you know, just delicately touching it, not like over handling it and throwing it around, etc. Okay, so each table has a brush, okay? You just need a little bit of moisture on your brush, and I could get the rib and try this. I'm just kind of sealing it up, and you can support the interior wall. Take a rib, and I'll probably use the brush mostly for the inside, trying to make sure that it's as seamless as possible. Okay, so you'll work at this for a good few minutes. I'm 10 minutes in, going as fast as I can. So you have a whole, hopefully, hour or more, depending on how long it takes me to explain this setup to you. And that really determines how well you're paying attention. Okay? Okay, I'm getting closer and closer to making the seam invisible on the inside and outside. So this was my crunchy side that needs a little bit more love. It's not a lost cause, I can fix it. It's kind of not wanting to blend right here, just keep working at it. So if you use your finger, I'm using my thumb on the inside to support it. So I'm not like pinching it, I'm just trying to be really gentle. I'm paying attention to the thickness and all the things, okay? So I don't have any circular templates at the moment, and what we did with the first period, which was not a problem at all, is we placed our cylinders on top, and then we took a knife tool and we were really super careful with our cylinder, and we cut out a base. We did not leave an excess like lip. Better if you use a knife very carefully. I have used like mini skewers and toothpicks. This knife is way smoother. This is also why you need the cloth on your table. If you're using a knife, we do not want to leave cut marks on our beautiful newish tables. All right, so here we go. I've got the bottom off, but it's not scored and slipped. Don't expect that to stay. That's not gonna happen. So you've got to score it all the way around. Oops, wrong tool. Okay, you gotta go all the way around. Sometimes if I'm impatient, I just stab holes in it and then, you know, it's way faster, but probably not as, you know, professionally done. So let's just give it a little bit more. Clay has like little, tiny little plate-like shapes in it that make it lock together when you do this. So I'm gonna probably find the least attractive side to put at the bottom, and that would be this one. So it's got like that crunchy edge. So again, I'm just grabbing like a tiny bit of water, and I do have slip bins, but I don't think we really need those. You can just take a brush. You can use any vessel that holds water. The bins on the front of your table are for wiping the table, so I prefer for you to keep clay out of those. So what I've done is I've scored and slipped around, and I am going to fit it on here, and it got bigger from scoring and slipping. So look at it, it's a little bit bigger, but I can fix that. Okay, so when you put it on there, it looks like it's not quite the same edge, but this is going to be fun. This is the fun part, okay, is making it look pretty and sealing it up. There's different methods, okay, so you have to kind of work with it and figure it out. You just don't want to distort it. You want to keep it looking nice, okay, and this is where you can take your brush. You can take a rib. Okay, so you, oopsie, I did a little bit of damage there. Okay, let's fix that. If that happens, it's all fixable, okay? And sometimes I have to put my hand down at the bottom and kind of support the side so that I can not have any like dips in the wall. And if you get dips, just push them back out, okay? So attaching the handle is going to be another adventure. I don't really have any good parts for that. I'm not done with sealing it up. I'm going to take all my scraps and wedge them back together. Okay, so remember when you're wedging, you've got to like squish them all together. I'm just adding a little bit of water because this canvas is sucking up the moisture. Okay, so wedging this. I don't know if this is going to be enough for a handle, but let's find out. It's like a little bit like a tennis ball, basically. All right, just for fun, let's just see what we have here. Let's see what we can work out. Now, maybe you want to braid your handle. Maybe you want to twist it. Maybe you don't want a flat handle. That is all you. Just remember, whatever you're attaching needs to be scored and slipped, okay? So I gotta work this thing down to be equal width. I mean, maybe you want your handle to be thicker at the top and thinner at the bottom. It's totally up to you. So I am just going to cut out whatever shape. I don't know how this is gonna work. I just messed up really bad. All right. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do my handle later. I was gonna do kind of like a funky shape. This is way too skinny in the end. My knife kind of slipped over, so you know, if I was gonna join that on there, it's probably not gonna work so much, but you can experiment, score and slip, and put your handle on as needed. All right, this video is almost 16 minutes. I don't know if I included everything, but I'm going to wrap this up and finish it later. And that is what you will do. So at the end of class, we'll come over to, oops, get one of these trays, get a shower cap, get a piece of tape, tear the tape, put your name on it. You're going to place it onto the tray, and you must completely cover the whole thing with the shower cap, okay? That's your job. Name everything, put it in your section. All right, that should cover most of everything. Good luck.